questioning look on your face.
Nope,
That's why. I
all
didn't start. Oh, Heavenly Father, help us to make right decisions for the people of Alcona County. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Yax,
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Brumman. Here. Reggie.
Here.
Smosh.
Here. I'll make a motion to approve minutes from December 30th and special meeting January 15th. Seconded. All moved and hired Dave first. Dave supports. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Regular meeting. Oh, I see. Public comment, 3 minutes.
Excuse me.
Whoa, I'm sorry.
Oh, did that motion include both minutes?
It said for January 15th
And,
and December 30th.
okay.
Yeah.
Didn't catch it.
I'm sorry.
That's all. No, I just want to make sure we did.
John Bernard. Correct. No, it's good. It's good to have, double check. Public comment? Oh, man, no public comment today? Okay.
The St. Patrick's Day? No.
Yeah,
I see everybody's got green.
Okay.
Y'all, hey, go green. Go
You're
green.
thinking about.
Okay. Go green.
Give the white.
We'll start taking for the first part. Dan.
Oh, buddy, first of all, I just want to just thank everybody for the support of.
We need to know.
What? For
Sorry,
support
that's
of getting me over the building department, I'm enjoying it. Anyway, I want to give you an update, give you an update from 24, just shows you the number of permits that were carried out in 24, the number of 1,534. And I went back into 23 to just give you an idea, we had 1,341 permits, so we had an increase in 24 of 193 permits. January 25, we've issued a total of 70 permits, and January 24, we had a total of 93 permits issued, so a little down, bigger winter, not much last year, but anyway, that kind of gives you just an overview of what we've had, over the last year. In talking to inspectors and working with Carrie and John Hartley, we've added a new roofing permit application, a new deck permit application, and updated our existing building permit applications. We're also reviewing our pole barn, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical permits applications. And the reason we're doing this is that we're trying to get a lot more information on the applications, so our inspectors really know what's going on. For example, I got there and trying to look at roofing permits, and roofing permits were tied with the building permit, and Harry had no idea what was going on with the roof. He didn't know what the people were doing or anything, so we've done that, and we're gonna revise them all. You know, we're gonna add it to the website, and of course, our BSNA program. Also working with John Hartley on updating the building department website. It's bad. It doesn't have really any information on it. It's outdated. And the way everybody uses the internet now, I just think it's a good idea to try to get as much information out there as possible. And then, one of the main things is setting up my office. I noticed abundance of prints laying around. I stopped counting at 300. There's still a lot more to count over there. And then talking to Dave Hansen, he informed me that there's a lot of prints down here in storage. They've all been gone through, all the residentials, were thrown away. They're all commercial, but there's a lot of them stored in this building. State of Michigan requires that we keep, commercial prints forever, residential prints for a minimum of 10 years. I've been working with John Hartley, and I would like to propose the purchase of a scanner. All prints can be scanned and archived, paper prints thrown away. And I have two proposals for your review. John is familiar with the HP products and recommends the HP scanner printer, which is more expensive than the other one, but John's well aware of HP products and just feels they're a lot better and all that. And I would just like the commissioners to review the information provided. And I recommend that we purchase a scanner, but it's up to you guys. But we have two copies of each scanner for you guys to review. We've watched the website, what do you want to call it there? the review of how they work, you know, their little spiel and all that. I think there's still a couple of questions that we could, you know, if we want us to keep looking at it more, I think there's still a couple more questions we can ask the companies that on the detail. But I would say there's probably over 500 prints that need to be scanned, and they should be scanned and archived because they're laying all over there. I mean, it's crazy. And once they're scanned, you know, every print has a permit number on it, so they'll be able to do right with that job. Something comes up, you can pull up that permit number, you'll have the print and everything. John says we have all kinds of room, not a problem as far as computers and storage and all that kind of stuff, but I just something seems, I think it's needed. And then, the other thing I have is an old, thing that everybody used to do is have contractor days where we'd ask, have a couple different inspectors here. Ask plumbing, electrical, heating, contractors to come. Maybe provide them, a light lunch and just let them talk to the inspectors, hear out anything that they think what's going on, any questions they have. There's a good chance that there's a new code coming out on building in April. Trying to find out if that's gonna happen. We'll get a class the 21st of February, and that should really answer if the state's gonna adopt the 23 code. So I'd like to see if you guys, if it's okay, if we could look what's available in March and maybe use this room for a half a day.
Sure.
But I think it's a really good idea we do that. Anyway, that's my little report.
Are we looking at this from like a local dealer or is this a?
No, I don't know. John knows. John's.
Miller's got a hold of
He called Miller. Miller never called him back.
Oh.
So, you know, I asked him about that, and it's who's John's dealt with before. I'm not sure the name of the company. You know, but they'll scan 36 inches wide. It doesn't matter how long, you know. And Lauren even said from equalization that they could probably be able to use it because they have a bunch of documents that they could archive also. So I just, you know, it's something that would, you know, it's like 380 pounds, so I think it would be where we put it, I would assume over the building department, but once it's there, not to be moved around,
Yeah.
but surely anybody can use it anyway. And I'm sure
It on service, he
Huh?
thinks service will be out.
5-year
And
parts,
his local people will come and service it, I guess.
I would
That's how it
think
works.
so. I think that's another one of the questions,
Yeah.
you know, that we could ask the guys, you know, I wanna ask them, okay, if we have 500 prints that gotta go through this thing, what are we looking at, you know?
Yeah.
You're not using ink or nothing. Now, the nice thing about it, you can scan them, throw away the print. And then if you need to print that back out, it'll print the
Oh,
print back out.
oh.
So it's a scanner printer.
Nice.
Oh, it's printer too?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's a scanner printer. So it'll have multi-uses probably for the whole county.
So you can make copies, you can charge for copies for people who want to bring in prints to copy them?
Yeah.
$5 copy or something crazy?
It could, I mean, it could, you know. So, you know, that was kind of my first thing. So we got information together for you guys to look at, and, you know, I'll look at it more and have a little bit more in 2 weeks, you know, but I think it's definitely something we needed.
I'm fine if we leave the recommendation of model and everything up to the building department. That whatever Dan says, this is the one that I think is best, I'm okay with that.
Me too.
And I think the concept of doing it is excellent.
Yeah, we'll find out
Totally
more
in
about it.
support.
Based on the quantity of this purchase, though, maybe we should do a quick motion on it. You think?
We should have. We wanna wait.
Are you?
Yeah,
Just wait for some, let me find
Wait
out
2
some
weeks,
more
okay.
information. I'd be more.
Is this gonna
comfortable.
be something we've got to put out for bid?
I don't think so. We don't put bids out for computers when we buy computers. and printers and stuff.
Okay, I just thought that
As
you.
long as we have multiple quotes,
Yeah.
Okay,
that
that's right, we do.
satisfies the bid.
Okay.
No, and that doesn't say that Miller might come back, but he hasn't returned John's phone calls, so.
Okay.
You know, and there's a lease option too, but I don't think that's the way to go. We do it, we'll get it, but I wanna see how it's gonna, what they say about holding up.
Okay,
Okay,
nice job.
and is it okay to look at dates available for this room in
Yeah.
March?
Yes, no,
Okay. All right. Thank you.
thank you. And welcome.
Oh, moving straight on to claims.
I'd like to make a motion to approve pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between January 15th, 25 and February 4th of 25 for check numbers 156-575 to 156-744. And e-checks 2545 to 2561 for a grand total of $949,336.23.
Seconded. Move to second, any questions, concerns? Roll call.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
Small,
Yes.
Yax,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes. I forgot to add, as the last item on new business, is the approval of the appointment of Parks and Recs Board, member. Next item is the MERS defined contribution plan adoption agreement for 911. Anyone want to speak to this for us?
Oh. Yes, I can do that for you. This is just a carve out for the dispatch employees. For their contract, they have a different contribution rate. So this breaks them out away from, the current defined contribution into their own division. Basically, everything's staying the same other than the agreed upon, contribution amounts. So that's on the final page there. Two of the paper clipped page, but the signature for your approval on that. Just on page 5 of 5 of the agenda.
So what is the,
That's my question. What's the number? What's the
So,
contribution?
the employee contribution, if it's 0, the employer does 6%. If the employee contributes the 4%, then the county does 10.
this is as negotiated by the board, by the 911 board?
Right.
And it's different than we do for everybody else, and that's why it's a carve out.
It is.
Any more questions, concerns, issues? All right, then we'll go, roll call.
I think we
Did
need
you
to
do
make
a
a
motion?
motion.
No, there's no motion, sorry. I'll make a motion to approve the MERS municipal unit for 911.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? We already do questions and comments. I thought somebody already did it. I don't hear anybody talking about it, so we will do a roll call.
Yax,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brumman,
yes,
Small,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes. Moving on. Pregnant pause intended, by the way. That was.
approve and authorize the chair to sign the agreement for the extension services as presented.
Second,
I'll second.
moved and seconded.
Thank
Karen
you.
and Dave.
There you go. Finally. Big board to talk to that, maybe?
Oh, hello. Yeah.
Hi, I just if there's any questions for me.
Nothing changed, right?
Well, there is a change. You'll see that the number increased by 3% and then an additional $8,000. The intent is to draw that from the fund balance that we hold because of the millage with the county. And I did provide this information to the finance committee. I'm sorry if my video freezes, by the way. But the $8,000 is going to be pooled with contributions from 2 other counties, Iosco County and Ogama County, to create a part-time position that would support the Master Gardener Volunteer Program. We need to have a coordinator in place who can help these volunteers record their hours and decide what projects are approved to be engaged with. So Master Gardener volunteers are adults who've done our volunteer or done garden education as well as volunteer education and training. So we need to have a person in place who can onboard and then assist those volunteers in the work that they're doing, who's based in our county offices. Small amounts from fund balances from the other 2 counties added together with Alcona County will allow us to have someone who can serve the region. And these volunteers are really valuable. They've gone through extensive training, not only on gardening and gardening practices, but also on how to find and answer questions that they may not know the answer to. And then how to do that volunteer work in a way that is consistent with our university policies and values. Most of which is really to create positive value, to give information to people that is based in research, that they can feel confident in in the information that we're providing. So this is something that we had in the past and I'm trying to bring back. It's my hope that we can sustain that over time. And by contributing these small amounts, relatively small amounts, it's 8,000 compared to your total budget isn't that much, but if I had to pay it out of pocket, it would be a stretch, right? But similar amounts from the other counties based on how much I've been able to build a fund balance. So if there's any questions about that.
How much are the other two counties each contributing?
Good question. So in Ogama County, my fund balance is about $5,000. So that's how much Ogama County is contributing. In Iosco County, I think it's $10,000.
Okay.
What's the plan for, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What's the plan for sustainability, after there's no fund balance available to fund the program?
Well,
Is there any
my hope,
thoughts on-
yeah, my hope would be that we can continue to have that fund balance. Over time, I have been able to, like I've said, I've been able to adjust my budgets in such a way to help build that. In Alcona County, I have frankly, amongst the three counties, Alcona County holds the largest fund balance with extension and with the millage funds. I didn't overcommit those funds either. I tried to be equitable in the way that I was allocating that.
Okay. That's all I have. Anybody else? No, I appreciate you making an effort to come here. I know it was a little bit difficult.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I appreciate you all allowing me the opportunity to participate at a distance. I would have liked to have been there in person. I'm already committed to being in Iosco County. I had to adjust my staff meeting a little bit here. But I will definitely make an effort to be in person very soon and see you all. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the floor?
Yep.
Okay.
And second.
I'm concerned that the fund balance sustainability on an equal basis. And I'm going to acknowledge that this year it is not equal. But in the future, I know that you have a pretty good fund balance.
Julie, do you know how much each year you put in the fund balance?
I only know what I'm holding in terms of the total. And I'm navigating on my computer to that.
What's that
Page.
millage bring? I don't remember.
60, it's not a lot.
What's more than
Um,
Been very frugal
We're doing
over the years and have
Yeah.
really spent all of your money.
Yeah, we are. We try to be good stewards of the money that, so I can give you a snapshot of 2024. In 2024, the millage total collected about $130,000, just over that. And our budget was the same amount. This memorandum of agreement is the largest cost center within that budget. Those dollars support our 4-H program coordinator, fringe operating, so all of the benefits essentially. And then a portion of that goes to the what we call our MOA fund on a statewide basis, and that is supporting other salaries. So some of that money supports, for example, a portion of my salary, just so you're aware. But because I have 7 counties, the total amount is not coming out of any one county. we pay for, our employee, who is a county employee, Kelly Von Fintel, and all of her labor costs. And then support the office, the phones and internet, et cetera, photocopier. Those are the kinds of things that we have. Our current, excuse me, there was a question about fund balance though, and I'm not answering that question. My balance sheet shows a fund balance of just under $78,000 as of the end of 2024. And I'll tell you quite frankly that when I began in my position, I didn't have a plan for how to use those funds, but staff who had longer tenure with the organization in Alcona County advised me that, and I think this was interesting because it was mentioned in the most recent Alcona Review news article about the building. And the context that I took that from was really that the county has to plan for anything that might be unforeseen that would happen. And the building that we're operating out of, you know, so if something went wrong with that would be an unforeseen cost of the county. So part of the logic of keeping a bit of a balance on hand is in case we need to make a change to any of our current office operations. I don't foresee that being an issue going on uninterrupted, so I am trying to make a plan of how to invest those dollars.
So the 88,948 is your total year cost.
That's
Yeah.
the amount that you pay Michigan State.
Right. Okay.
But our budget includes, you know, paying for the employee.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, great, thanks. Anybody else?
Yeah, you're welcome. Also, I just would say, and I don't mean to interrupt you, if any of you would like to have a conversation about, you know, how we might invest those dollars, I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. And I have had some conversations, just initial, nothing promised, with Alcona Community Schools about how we can support the makerspace that we have within the elementary school. And investing some of that fund balance in something that would sustain that might be a mechanism to utilize those fund dollars.
It might be
Okay.
valuable to read the verbiage under what ran in the millage election. See what that verbiage says that we can and can't do with that.
Right. Yeah, it was I mean, generally it's to sustain extension and 4-H programs in the county. And we consider the work that we're doing at the elementary school as an extension of our youth development work in 4-H.
And I'm not disagreeing with that, but I that needs to be taken into account, I think.
Absolutely. I'm not looking to put anybody outside the law,
Thank you.
especially you all.
When I don't expect that you would have it with you today, but when you do, would you let Kelly know, what the fund balances for Ogama and Iosco would be?
Yeah, well, the amounts that I talked about pretty much use up the small fund balances that we have in those two counties. In fact, up until 3 years ago, Iosco County had an additional expense over and above what was collected by the millage to support extension in Iosco County. We've been able to move our budget in a way that we are no longer pulling dollars out of the general fund of Iosco County. In Ogama County, we did have a fund balance, but they made there were some decisions made about collection that reduced our fund balance to zero in Ogama County.
We'll stick with you here in Alcona, don't worry.
That was submitted just as factual, not with any comment, but thank you so much.
Any other questions? All right, let's, roll call.
Mo,
Yes.
Reggie,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. Next on the docket, opioid committee request. Carolyn, if you would.
Yes, you all received, and I've spoken with each of you individually. There is a separate amount of opioid money that came to Northeast Michigan Regional Entity, NEMRI. The amount was $1,100,000, and I gave you all a copy of that 2 weeks ago. We do not, and asking for programs and projects that would, perhaps could utilize those dollars. And they were infrastructure, vehicle purchasing, and anticipated harm reduction supplies. We don't have any one of those potentially here, but the opioid committee in their meeting a week ago, Monday, had a discussion, and we would like to apply for $100,000 to assist in the creation and development of the new Sunrise Center in Alpena. It is where large majority of our folks go for treatment. It is the closest one and most accessible for most of our folks, our Alcona folks. And so, at this time, the committee is bringing forward to you, Board of Commissioners, a request for you to approve our submission for the $100,000. Do I think we're going to get it? Not a fat chance, but dangle a dollar in front of me and I'll go for it. I'll try. You all know that. So for that reason, I'm asking approval of the motion that I have provided with you, or your own motion if you prefer.
I'll support your motion.
Thank you.
Well supported. Any questions, comments? This is I guess roll call.
Johnston,
Yes.
Reggie,
Yeah.
Small,
Yes.
Yax,
Yes.
Brumman.
Yes. Thank you all.
Next up, Parks and Recs appointment, Craig, if you'd like to.
I sent an email the last meeting, and it was in the link, but, so the two names are Rick Smith and John Bernard to be reappointed to 3-year terms. This will be the first year of our beginning our revolving 3-year term reappointments, and we'll be all set.
Oh,
So I'd make that motion.
Support.
Motion by Craig, second by Terry. Any more questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Finance report, Dave and I met for a little while this morning, didn't really talk about anything major, didn't have an update, don't really have an update for you all today, as far as that goes. I know that, the budget coordinator is working hard to get everything wrapped up for 24, and we'll probably hear more about that from Cheryl in the treasurer's report. Other than that, Cheryl, if I may ask, was there any money that we had, that you knew that we had moved today for? There's something I do need to take care of, but I don't have anything ready to do that, but anything outstanding in your mind?
The MIDC budget adoption.
IDC, that's right. My DC budget adoption. So yesterday, everyone received an email for, it's not an email, for the MIDC budget. There was some, I was a part of that process up to, I would harass Mr. Bill there on a regular basis to get the information together. And they finally have something submitted. I would propose we could talk about that at the next meeting, probably. Everybody a chance to look it over better, and I don't think it's gonna hurt anything to not approve it today, besides paying some funds. Paying for checks on an unapproved thing. I mean, if anybody's appetite to go ahead and approve it today, I'm fine with that too.
We don't track what we're paying, right, so we know what's going out.
Right. So I think it just might be looked frowned upon because we've already kind of pushed the envelope on that one. by a month, so. You know, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the MIDC budget. I mean, it's all outside funding anyway, so.
Support.
Moved and supported by Craig. Any further questions?
Thank you.
Then I want a roll call, please.
Mo,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
yes,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes, thank you, Cheryl. Personnel report. Craig, we'll talk about this.
Sure. Oh, we met with, this morning, so we've started, our personnel meetings, we're gonna do them. The 10 o'clock before each meeting on Wednesday, but that does not preclude that if somebody needs to talk to personnel any other time. But we'll try to schedule a 10 o'clock meeting every 2 weeks, or whenever there's a regular meeting. So this morning, we were fairly busy, a couple things we can talk about, a couple we can't. So Equalization has brought a proposal to look at potentially doing an update in the office that may require some staffing. We've kind of looked at that, and we're gonna continue to research it and then bring something to the board when we got it finalized. Courts, so the courts, what was nothing major. We had an issue that we needed to look at contracted employee and wage paying employee, and we think we have it figured out. I think I'm talking with the clerk's office. Other than that, there's nothing else, was there? Did you? I didn't have anything other before
Everything
that.
else is a closed session scenario. It doesn't need to happen today.
But yeah, just a reminder to everybody that we won't meet just once a week or once every 2 weeks. If there's any issue, just get a hold of Adam or myself.
But if you do plan on showing up on that meeting, that's every other week or whatever, drop us a
Yeah.
note. So we can plan ahead, cause today now we're turning into 2 hours real quick. All right. Next up, treasurer's report, Cheryl.
I don't have a whole lot. We're still waiting on some journal entries to be completed before we can complete out the 2024s. There hasn't been any movement or anything major in the 25, other than the contract buyouts. And those adjustments have been reviewed, and some of them that were requested have been completed. There are a few that still need to be done, but we really can't move a lot of things until we get the confirmation from the other payouts from the 24. I believe the majority of the personnel changes have been made. They were made the beginning or end of last week. I was out ill unexpectedly for a little bit, so that put me a little bit behind. So we'll be back on track and have those within the next week or. And I'll have an update for the next meeting on the tentative final. Looks like we'll have a good fund balance. There are a few questions and we'll need to get with a few departments on at the next finance meeting. After a review and a few of those.
Okay.
But other than that, like I said, I was kind of out of it for a couple. Mhm. So, but if anyone has any questions, I have been in contact, and I know it was an issue we've been working on. Our office has been working on the investments for the road commission, and I haven't had a chance to even get back with them, but I do have that's all moving forward, that they were looking at, having investing some of their excess funds invested, and that's in the works and moving forward. It's just, we had to get a little bit more information from a few of the banks and find the best options, which is what we had been exploring for the month of December. And obviously January flew by with the new budget. So it's February, and we're moving forward, and it'll be a good thing. Does anybody have any questions for me? Getting back from Grand Rapids, which is where we had our treasurers conference.
Just got back today.
Well, just that,
Oh.
that.
Literally right now.
I drove there, and dropped off my stuff in here.
Anything outstanding
Any new things?
to talk about there?
I need a minute to digest it.
No,
Be
okay.
able to bring that forward to you.
Okay.
Not anything earth shattering. There are some procedural changes that may be moving forward for the counties, but
Money trees.
Money trees?
Yeah, and those trees.
Taking them. Yeah, they're looking at lots.
Thanks, Cheryl. Clerk's report.
The statewide revenue sharing survey is complete. January is pretty busy. Tina completed 3 payrolls. She also submitted our W-2s and 1099s to the IRS successfully. She's done with payroll accruals and is going to start working on AP accruals. The Bureau of Elections did an audit for us this week, for Mitchell Township, which included our 9 days of early voting. It was very successful. It was nice to receive compliments for our organization for the 9 days of early voting, since that's fairly still a new process for us, especially as far as reporting, goes. Out of 1,400 countywide and 270 Mitchell Township ballots that were hand counted for president, they came out spot on. So it was really nice to see the Bureau of Election high five each other on a successful audit of us. So that was good. And now we're on to preparing for the May election with 2 new clerks. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Sheriff's report, Scott.
I won't be having any election complaints coming in.
Oh, probably.
Probably last time I sat in your seat, so. I'll get one over here some kind of.
Well, I'm not contaminated anymore.
Well, it wasn't that I was worried about, I just hate having people on my back.
You trust me, huh?
Yeah. I brought copies this time.
This way.
So I've been kind of busy since last meeting, but I listed some of the meetings and things I've been doing, to kind of update. The first thing on here is I attended the hunt meeting on January 17th with Commissioner Small and Prosecutor Whitehall, and I prepared and presented my treasurer's report at that. As usual, the hunt is extremely understaffed and wanting people. They don't want our money, they want our people, which we don't have anybody to send right now, but that's always their request. On the 21st, I attended the Fire Association meeting for Alcona County. We talked about some training opportunities in the county, specifically traffic scene safety concerns that some of the fire chiefs are having. And my staff had the same concern. We're worried about somebody getting hit on one of these crash scenes and causing a secondary catastrophe, which nobody wants. January 27th, Director from 911 and I met with the MSPCS, close. The radio people. Yes, yeah, the state radio people, and the reason we met with them is that the lean audit people came in and told us last year that all of our radios, our law enforcement radios have to be encrypted now. Our 800 radios modulate, they don't encrypt. When we bought them 20 years ago, they said, yeah, they're perfect, they're great, nobody can scan them, you're perfect. Oh, we're not. Now they have to be encrypted, which is the next thing. I asked them where the check was to do that. It was fairly polite about the whole conversation, but the lift is around $252,000 to replace our radios. And they were all wanting this done by like 2026. And I was like, there's no way. And I can't be the only person in this boat that's telling you no way. As I found out, everybody's telling them no way. As a matter of fact, some people are telling them, all right, take away our lien permissions then, or take away our lien availability, and they're not going to. So we met the radio people to see where we're at and where we need to be. And I drew up a replacement program to present the lien, which should suffice for several years. And what that includes is replacing radios as they malfunction. Instead of repairing them, we'll just replace them each year. So this isn't going to be a huge lift at one time. What we'll do is we'll just replace them through attrition. And it may take 4, 5, or 6 years, depending on when. And when we get close, there'll probably be a little bit of a lift at the end just to get us across the finish line. But yeah, $252,000 at today's price is just to buy radios. That doesn't including installing them or programming them or anything.
How much is one radio?
$9,000 for Motorola. It sounds like Kenwoods are a little bit cheaper, which is fine. Kenwoods are just fine to go with. But
And I'm sure you've talked about this somewhere, but the compatibility between the old and the new is not a problem.
the old radios and the new.
That's what I mean, as you start to replace new ones, are they gonna,
So yeah, it's not a problem until you flip that switch
okay,
of encryptability, and then they all have to be flipped the switch at the same time. Yeah, but as far as using them, the old and the new at the same time, you can do that.
okay,
And what it is they encrypt a channel. Some of the radios we currently have can be upgraded to be encryptable. And it's between $800 and $1,000 to do that. And the guy says, you can do that with all your radios now, but you're putting a whole lot of money into old technology, old radios that may or may not malfunction in the next couple of years. So I think this looks like a pretty good program. We're just replacing them as they break down. Right now I have one in my pickup truck that is broke down. So it's probably going to be 2 or 3 years what we're going to look at over the next few years. And I'll kind of write up some type of a capital improvement program or capital replacement program on that, because it is quite a bit of money. The next thing is on the 27th. I don't know if that's the right date. Yeah, it might be. We had the local emergency planning team. We met. I chair that committee, but that's probably a better summary for the emergency manager to come in and give you what's going on in there. There was nothing drastic happening at that meeting. Victim services met later that night, and we meet once a month on Monday evenings, on the fourth Monday. We talk about our call-outs. We do some training at those because we're required to keep so many hours of training every year, just like any of my other divisions. We have to train at victim services too. And we discuss some policy and safety issues for going to these scenes and keeping ourselves out of trouble. The 28th, I met with Mayor Gearing about some issues with the city of Harrisville. I think I've mentioned before that they've got a little extra license money from their marijuana shops. So we're looking at some different projects. I've got a whole lot of trying to lay out some capital improvement projects over the next 10 years or so that need to be done. And looking at the short-term ones, I've got a few projects I want to complete this year that I don't have funding for or didn't secure funding for. So they're looking to help us out with some of those, including the new drone that Terry and I've been looking at, some ballistic helmets and some less lethal options for us to put out instead of having to go to lethal options in certain circumstances. The helmets are a ballistic type helmet, Kevlar variety that the last time we were on an active shooter, I got out of the car and this is what I was wearing on my head, and all the state troopers had Kevlar helmets on. So it was not something I was aware of. I guess they also carry shields, some type of ballistic shields, which may be something in the future we go to, but right now my guys didn't seem to think that was a big deal, but helmets probably are. We talked about some other patrol activity in the city of Harrisville. 28th, I met with the principal of the school, who's Dr. Morris, and the dean of students, Mr. Bouchard. They're both new to their positions this year, and had a lot of conversations with both of them other times, but never sent anything real formal where we sat down. We talked about the school resource officer, his activities, some of our enforcement policies on how we're handling stuff, and we talked about some truancy issues. So that was a real nice meeting, and my dog ran up and down the halls of the school and loved it. The next day was an MSP webinar about the new CPE, which is the continuing police education that we're dealing with. Last year we got $500 per officer. This year was $1,000. This isn't a grant; it's a legislative allotment or allocation. I found out some good things at the webinar. I found out some challenges that we're going to have, and I think I'm going to have to sit down with Cheryl and go over how we're going to have to lay that on the budget, because I think there's different things we can spend that money for, and I think we need to break it down just a little bit more. But one of them is overtime. When I send people to these classes, I can use the state's money for overtime on that, which is a good thing. Again, I'm sitting on about 15,000, some left from last year and some from this year on that. So offset some overtime with that. On January 30th, I had the Northern Michigan Mutual Aid meeting in Grayling. And what that is, if you're not aware, that's an interlocal agreement that we enter into for SWAT services here in the county and dive services. Fortunately, we don't need dive services here as much as a lot of other places do, but we do have it available. We also don't use SWAT here at Agawam either. We're developing a civil disturbance team in case there's some type of riot or anything like that. I've got 2 members trained on my staff to participate in that. None on the dive team currently, although I have interest from one, and I have 1 person on the emergency response SWAT team. So we participate, I would say fairly heavily for a small agency in that. Same day, we do our Michigan Sheriff's Association District Two meeting. This is the one I chair for Northern Michigan with 17 other sheriffs, and we talk about topics pretty unique to sheriffs. You know, deal with training, policy, personnel issues. Talk a lot about these CBE credits and training, and we do a pretty nice legal update on things going on with the state. The real cool thing about that is most of the people on that board with me this week are in Washington DC for the National Sheriff's Conference, and we've been getting updates back from them, and it's pretty neat, except for they all had to fly into the airport in DC this week, which was everybody's a little nervous about doing after what's been going on. 911 Authority Board meeting was yesterday. Commissioner Brown may or may not be giving an update on that, or maybe the director's giving an update, don't know. And in a couple of weeks, I'm attending, I mentioned I'm on the MIRMA board, or will be on the MIRMA board after I get voted in February. And I'm attending the risk management seminar down there in Lansing on the 26th and 27th. That will be pretty cool, I think, or it'll be real boring. I'm not sure yet. I wanted to give you an update. I talked a couple meetings ago about how much overtime we worked last year. Our law enforcement division towards the end of the year, the final numbers came in 2,172 hours of overtime we worked, in between 10 officers. That's 217 each, 5.4 weeks each. It's a lot. Not a lot of that was discretionary. It was pretty much mandatory. It was pretty much to fill vacancies and shifts so that we could maintain the minimum staffing that we do. Very, very little of it was for special assignments or details that wasn't directly related to staffing of the road patrol. Couple of recent cases. I talked to you before about the car burglaries. We've not solved that, but we've questioned some suspects in that, and remarkably, they've stopped. So we may or may not have been on the right track. Either way, they have stopped, which is good to hear. We're investigating a severe animal abuse complaint that presented at the Humane Society. It showed up. This dog showed up on somebody's porch in Curtis Township, Southern Curtis Township, in Bryan subdivision, with a chain embedded in its neck, and had been around there quite a long time, and bitten in so that the meat was growing right around. And if you haven't seen the pictures, it's horrible. The tougher thing about it is there's a padlock holding that together. So this was probably intentional. We've got it out for a reward. The Humane Society is offering $1,000 reward on that, and we haven't got anything in over a week, which leads me to believe that it may be a dog that was dumped from downstate. It may be in the national forest. It was last seen in Iosco County, but it was captured in our county. Pretty tragic, but I understand it's doing better and is likely going to survive. The Red Fork restaurant, Greenbush, was broken into and their safe was robbed the other day, if you didn't hear. We made an arrest relatively quickly on that and recovered several guns from a felon. And some of them are illegal guns, like a sawed-off shotgun, double barrel shotgun, which was kind of alarming to get. And Monday afternoon, we had a ton of weather-related traffic incidents because we forgot how to drive in the snow, and we had people in the ditch. That is the boring part. The fun part is the trivia. Commissioner Small was right on one of the murders from last time. The other one was a dump body that really didn't happen here. It presents when a body is found in a county and it's unidentified and you don't know where it was murdered at, it's presumed to be murdered in the county where it's found. And it was investigated as such by our office until we found out that it was a murder that happened in Tuscola County. This is the next one for you, Terry. I showed you this before. I need to know, since you're in the picture, I need a better timeline on when that happened. I'm hearing between 1984 and 1985. Carol, maybe you could help out with that if you remember.
I think I'm the one that turned that into your office.
I think you are, yeah. And or if there's people missing from there, there's at least 2 names without pictures there. Here is a photo of the Black River Jail, for which Terry Small, when he started his career, used to lodge in. I'm hoping to find out what year this was in. And I'm not sure if it was before or after the 1904 fire of our jail. Did you lodge in this jail?
No, I did not.
That jail was there quite a while
Yeah.
before, I mean.
Well, this one burned in 1904.
And there was another one.
I think there was another one, I'm not sure that that one burned or.
Or was that the jail or was that the courthouse?
It's the jail and courthouse all together, I think is what it
Was
was.
it?
Yeah.
Well, and then they built the courthouse and the jail separate though.
Right.
There's two
This one
different
wasn't, I
sides.
think this was one single building at the
Okay.
time, yeah. Afterwards, they built another jail and courthouse separately. And I would bet that that jail is buried in the backyard somewhere.
Yeah, I think so.
Um,
You can see the bars in the window, looks kind of cool.
yeah,
There.
the other thing you can see in there is the electrical lines coming in. So in 1904, when there was electricity to that building, and the city of Garrisville had electricity.
I can't believe Terry worked there at that time.
That was young.
He was thinking about running for sheriff.
Just a young lad, yeah.
Yeah. So we're
Fresh
repainting,
out of academy.
yeah. We're repainting our lobby right now, and if you've ever noticed, we have all the prior sheriffs hanging in there. Unfortunately, when I hung up Sheriff Atchison's picture, I looked and I took down one of the old photographs and put it in my office just because there wasn't enough. And that sheriff has remaining relatives in our county, so I heard about it. Luckily, they're friends of mine, so. I'm gonna put those back up along with some of these. I will frame some of these photographs and put them up. The Black River Jail is pretty interesting. I don't know a lot of history of that. It looks like there's hanging gallows in the front of it. I understand that's not what that is. It has something to do with ice, and hoisting up ice or something like that. It did, yeah, there was probably a lot going on there, and I don't know, Black River was a big town at the time. I think they had their own city jail, and I think that's what this was, of which the sheriff would have been in charge of all city jails inside the county.
When you got put on ice in Black River, you really.
You got put on ice, yeah. I've seen pictures of this from further away that included the fish house that used to be up there on the shores of the Black River and Lake Huron. And this was always in the background, but this is the best photograph I got, and Sheila Gother brought this in, she's from Black River. And I have the glossy at my office, it's a little bit better shape than this was a copy.
Interesting.
Yeah, pretty cool. Any ideas on the year, Terry?
Well, it had to be before 82, and then,
Oh, yeah.
Our guesses are 84 or 85.
yeah, it had to be.
When did you start?
You said there was two pictures with no names, I didn't see that.
Yeah, Dorothea and
Carloa.
Arloa are not in there, but their names are above some of the pictures.
Oh, I didn't see that part, okay. Let's see, yeah, it's 492. No, couldn't be. I know there's a lot of guys with hair in there that don't have so much at all.
Oh, you were a commissioner in 85, right?
Yeah. But I was started in sheriff's department in 85. I'm gonna say it's gotta be, Don Slink is in there, or not, yeah, Don Slink is in there.
Yeah.
And he was out about a year after I started.
He looks old in that picture.
Yeah. He was 70 at that, when he went down, because they wouldn't let him.
Right.
My understanding
Yeah.
was they wouldn't let him go past 70. And Ted Thompson isn't in there,
You know,
and he started in 86. Gotta be 85.
Deanna thinks it's between 1984 and 5.
Yeah, yeah, Deanne wouldn't be in, well, she'd been part-time maybe, but,
Anybody missing that you could think of?
well,
There was-
Ted Thompson wasn't hired yet, the old bailiff, I can't think of his name right now. What was here, he was here for
Yeah,
years.
I'll give you some homework. Anyways, there was 2 photographs in there that I didn't have, and one of them was yours, and I secured from you.
Hmm.
It looks an awful lot like the clerk from Mitchell Township to me, but.
I don't know why.
Yeah, don't look like Ian, doesn't he?
You did say he passed his, his thing.
Thought it, yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I'd say 85. Don was on shortly
I was
after.
11 years old, and that, just to put it in context.
Anybody else want to say their age right now? Just.
I was 10, if that makes it any better.
I
No.
got 2 kids, one already graduated from high school then.
How old were you then, Carolyn?
I lived next door.
85?
Down in that little big girl's
Probably
back there. No.
Forty.
Forty, I was 11-3, almost.
I'll take a picture of it, I'll show Dan. Sunday. If he knows.
Okay. He's got it.
No, it'd been 50. It'd been 50.
Get the wheel in. All right, cool. In regards to the overtime report, if you wanna slide into the next, personnel meeting and talk about any options you wanna talk about or anything like that,
Yeah.
feel free. Let us know, but. feel free.
Yeah, I had a really pretty decent application today that I haven't met. But last summer I hired some folks in the part-time marine patrol and filled a little bit in the jail when our jail officer was out. So I may look at doing some part-time, and I think I've got budget for it anyways. But I may look to hire somebody part-time for the summer to fill in with the desk in the jail when those folks are
Cool.
out, but.
Don't hesitate.
Yeah.
to-
Oh, thank you.
New time frame, 86.
E6?
Yeah, Van Herp didn't start until I'm pretty sure 86.
So the progression back then was that jailers and dispatchers were dual use, and they staffed one person at the desk, and that person was also in charge of the inmates. And at some point, the state came in and said, no, you have to have one at the desk and one at the jail. And then later on, just before I started, they came in and said, you have to have two people in the jail based on your size and building layout, you have to have two people working in the jail.
John was the first one.
Two is what we went by. They actually said three, and we got by because dispatch could see our detox cell.
And we'll say, they didn't say sergeants on the top lines, did they? Anywhere?
Not that I know of, but they seem to be by seniority or by
Yeah.
grade.
Well, that, not really. I mean, the top three, yes.
All right, why don't you give me that back so you get on with your meeting?
Yes, good, Scott, these are always informative, it's pretty good.
Love going down memory lane.
Yeah.
Well, if you got to make fun of Terry a little bit, that's fun.
I'll pull out some old personnel reports next time. Memory lane.
Please don't do that. Oh, no. I'll lose every election from that. Or.
All right,
Thank you.
good, we'll do committee reports, we'll start with, Carolyn.
Well, I left my packet on my desk, so it's gonna be a little uncertain and brief. Hunt's crossed off, how about that? I have the Cato Township Board meeting. Sunrise, I did by Zoom, if you recall, on the 22nd is a really traffic driving day. Had personnel meeting for ACCOA, LAPC and LPC, then, ACCOA board meeting, they're saying if you use that phrase, you can quote me, otherwise don't, that maybe the end of March, they'll begin to utilize some of the offices of the new building, of the new ACCOA building. But that's, I wouldn't put much more than a buck on it. But what do I know? So, as, the sheriff indicated, we had, 911 board meeting yesterday. The new radio systems seem to be doing pretty well. They're pleased with them. And things, they did sign their contract, they authorized the signing of their contract, of which we handled part of that today. And they continue to have a very outstanding director over there, whom I appreciate, and others do too. But And that's about all.
Eric?
Yeah, I attended the NEMCOG meeting. One of the things they're working on, I'm sure Craig is gonna talk a lot more about it, so I went to land bank.
Oh,
They wanna do a regional land bank setup. And they're had meetings or going to have meetings in regards to that. One of the things I had forgotten about was the train depot. Apparently, NEMCOG has worked on helping them with a grant for that project. And so it's kind of an interesting part of it. They're also involved in this material management, the dumps, and so I attended the first bug meeting. And they apparently they're gonna have a new lieutenant up there
Oh, yeah.
originally, so.
Yeah, he's
Also,
been to some of our meetings.
the new one?
I think so.
Well, I didn't even know he was appointed. Anyway, also attended the TV, transportation, Thunder Bay Transportation Authority. They're going along well, and also Northeast Michigan Correctional Grants, meeting. They're also going along well. They seem to all be receiving their monies, which I know that's always a problem. That's all I got.
I actually don't have anything. I was on a field trip looking at how other governments work and, I have a new appreciation for kings. For kings,
oh,
because you think it was all great what kings did, but oh my gosh, they had a lot of responsibility and work, so. From everything from 1000 BC to, well, they were talking like 1800s and that seemed like yesterday. It's like, well, this was 1845, it's like,
some people think we're a king right now.
Now that was gonna be my joke.
hey, you.
Craig?
Parks and Rec, it was uneventful meetings for the past several meetings because there was no snow, so this is definitely got things going again. We didn't really talk about a lot, made sure we got those guys. We did have an organizational meeting. Rick was reappointed as the chair, and Ken Kosel was the secretary treasurer. Townships, so I think we probably all got a invitation. So county townships had their bi-monthly or quarterly meeting. We met at the fire hall in Barton City. First time I've been there. Anybody? Yeah, that's great. That place is awesome. I mean, that's first, I hadn't been in since the upgrade, but really nice place. So we, Tim Malone came over and Doug came with me and we went and did the same presentation as you got here. Supervisors were very happy to hear it, and it went really well. Some good questions. Did decide to make sure that all the supervisors will now get the same update that we get from them, so they're on board and know what's happening. We'll probably meet again at their next meeting and keep them in the loop. And I think Tim brought it up here that coming up, we're gonna need elected official endorsements of the plan. We've got a form letter made, so supervisors are all on board for that, and I'm sure hopefully we will be too, so. But that went really well. Veterans Board meeting. I think I was thoroughly almost dead at that meeting with what you're probably getting over. It was a rough meeting. I was pretty sick, but I went. And, they didn't have a whole lot. They were investigating a possibility of, so Oscoda County, their Veterans Board is having some rough times, and they're considering, I wouldn't say even considering, they're talking about hiring another VSO or sharing a VSO or doing something with our VSO. I don't know what has come of it. I think they have talked. I got a call into Chuck Varner over there to see what their commissioners were thinking. There is some precedent. It happens in other parts of the county or other parts of the state where two counties either share a VSO or share a lead VSO. So there could be another VSO hired, but maybe ours would be the supervisor over that one, and it's all up in the air at this point. But interesting. It's an interesting conversation. What Terry was, I thought I emailed everybody, but I probably didn't. I forgot. So yes, NEMCOG has a proposal that they asked, and all I had was the PowerPoint. They're supposed to have a white page on it, but that is not come out yet. So NEMCOG is, you remember a few years ago, I had brought up land banks and ideas of land banks and. There's a lot of work to it. Cheryl, she knows about it too, and there's this, it can be pretty a daunting task. So NEMCOG has considered, taking over that daunting task part. They would provide the staffing, they would provide most of the work that's involved with it. Each county would still have its own land bank, but they would do most of the heavy lifting. There would, at the time, we were there, I think there's 11 counties they had in the meeting. It would be part of this regional land bank, it'd be the first one in the state. There are some other, land banks that are 2 counties, but this big, like a regional type land bank is this would be the first. Nothing's been decided. This was all just information. I think that was pretty well represented. I didn't see anybody there from Muskota County. Jamie Soboleski sat next to me from Iosco. She was interested. One of the things I had brought up was, so Otsego County was there, Crawford County, Sheboygan, and you know, my concern was Otsego County might as well be the moon to the people of Algona, because we don't know what they're doing over there and what their goals and dreams and admirations are. So how would they be able to structure a regional entity that allowed autonomy for perhaps Iosco and Algona would want to do something, and, you know, would we be able to do that within the regional structure? And so, you know, everybody, those are all good things, and they're gonna be talking about that, but it's just in a very, nothing would even happen for a year before. There would have to be interlocal agreements made, and it's a fairly, and I wanna make sure you got all the stuff too, but, I got a PowerPoint, and that's about it, and then it was just discussion about what a land bank is and what it can offer. More to come down the road, but it's something more serious.
I did get the invitation, unfortunately, I was not able to make it to that.
It was a crazy day, the wind was blowing 50 miles an hour, and, yeah, I think there was maybe 2 other treasurers there, most of them were commissioners. And that, it was good to have some treasurers there, because they have their own issues on why their concerns and their thoughts, and because the treasurer is the, what's it called, like you're the one who has to sign off to set up the land bank. The nice thing about what they're doing, so the law, as they've researched it, you don't necessarily have to be the chair of the board, you can just be a member of the board. So all the other stuff can be done by this regional authority, so it takes a lot of the load off local treasurers having to administer and do all the different stuff, so. Anyway, it was interesting, there's a lot of, and Cheryl knows about this, there's a lot of stuff that's available with a land bank, and, for us, one of the big ones is the blight elimination. Remember, we had that money a few years ago, so now you can't even touch that money unless you have a land bank. And we have a lot of blight elimination in our county that needs to happen, and so. I guess, and that's all I had.
Okay. Communications in your packet, cruise at your leisure. Last section of public comment. Commissioner, additional comments, concerns?
I have a question. What's the status on the, transfer station and all of that? The fact that we haven't gotten paid, to my knowledge, I haven't received the money yet. They were asking for payment.
I have a meeting next Friday with them, and I hope to get more answers out of MAC. What I've seen from them is that the program has been changed to, they're giving us money to expenditures. You're gonna have to show where you spent the money.
Sure.
And I love the treasurer's going, yep, that's all right. So,
Well, we all do that, was not gonna.
well, I was hoping it wasn't, but, you know.
You've been
Unfortunately,
away from government too long.
well, maybe that's true, maybe that's true. But yeah, I think it's
I thought about it a couple of times.
I think it's gonna change a lot how we do things, yeah.
Is it gonna change how the whole program is gonna be?
Well, yeah,
Because if the first year of the grant was supposed to be to get this all set up, and then we had the next 2 years.
And we're committed to that, so from the standpoint that what we could,
But nobody else is committed to it. I mean, the counties may be committed. to the-
Yeah, they have the regional,
Regional.
well, yeah, stages.
We haven't paid anything yet.
So we're probably the least committed.
Fun. Anything else? Meeting adjourned till Wednesday, February 19th.
This is not an email to you.
The,
Missy,
Yeah, if you email it down.
they are,
Missy, do you have a minute to talk about some stuff?
trying to think what I was.
It was
gonna tell you.
good. I mean, that would be, I think there was a video on it. I don't know if they saved it.
Well, like I said, I'll
Jim Fisher was
know
there.
more, but
Yeah,
basically,
Yes.